welcome to Treecat Chat. I'm Michelle, and I'm here for some fun Saturday chat today. I have a special guest, and I'm excited to talk to our special guest today. But before we get to that, I want to welcome you, and thanks for joining me every Saturday when I talk about commentary, insight, and news in the world of re-commerce, selling, and e-commerce with a little fun and energy to kickstart your weekend. So grab your beverage of choice. Today I have some iced tea. And let's go. So whether you're a seasoned marketplace seller, an entrepreneur, or just a side hustler like me, we will always have something to talk about in the world of e-commerce. And today we've got a lot to talk about. The first thing I want to talk about and bring up is just the fact that Mercari made an announcement recently that they're going to be doing exchanges for fashion sellers. So if you're a fashion seller like me, people will be able to now exchange items if they smell or if they don't fit. And guess what? The good news is it's not going to impact the seller. So there, apparently it's at no extra price to return these things to the seller. Now, this is happening from July 1st to July 31st, and they're just piloting this new program called Fashion Exchange. So that just came up in my feed today, and I thought it was worth mentioning. It'll be interesting to see how that pans out as a fashion seller, because the one thing I like about Mercari is that there are no exchanges or there are no returns. But apparently now they're piloting this out, and I'm glad to know that it won't be impacting my pocketbook. Okay, I don't have any other real news to talk about today, but I do have a special guest that I want to welcome. His name is Justin, and Justin is a Treecat user, and he is also a comic book seller. He is the founder of Investment Comic Books, investmentcomicbooks.com, and he's on eBay, and he sells on a bunch of other platforms. So without any further ado, let's welcome Justin to Treecat Chat. Hello, Justin.
Hello.
How are you today?
Good. Still a little tired. A lot of kids, so, sleep.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you joining me today. I wanted to talk with you because it's, I'm just so excited to hear about your story. You are a very good comic book seller, and you're on a bunch of different platforms, and you have a very interesting business model, very different from mine. You're more of I would say like a high ASP, low volume. Would that be correct about your business model?
Yeah, that's very
true. So I'm assuming this must be just your absolute passion, but I'd love to hear like how you got started in selling comic books online.
Yeah, so I was traveling a lot for work, and I had a lot of downtime in between traveling, and I wasn't home a lot, but I wanted a hobby that I could just enjoy doing and keep the hobby funding itself. And at first, I was obviously into superhero related movies and TV shows as a kid, and I did start collecting comic books as a kid, but also had a bad taste in my mouth, so I stopped when I was young and came back to it about 2013. Listened to a lot of podcasts and got really into the selling, buying, and hunting for comic books. Traveling a lot, I started hitting up flea markets and garage sales and things. And at the time in 2013, it wasn't as prevalent as it is now. So my uh, picking and collecting really took off quick after a few years of just stockpiling stuff. And I wasn't stockpiling a lot, it's only a few thousand or so, but I was trying to pick the good stuff. And I have a local comic shop that taught me a lot about comic books, and he kind of trained me on what to look for. So that was fun.
So I'm sure that things have changed even in just the last few years. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's
Would
really
you
hard
say
to get
that
into comic books right now.
now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What keeps you motivated? I mean, it sounds like you just love comic books, but is there any other motivating factor
Yeah, I
that
mean,
keeps you going?
I would say the motivation is to kind of stockpile a little nest egg for my kids, and uh, also to just extra expenses it pays for, but also the other motivation is the fun part of it, going to conventions and meeting friends and building a community too of other comic book collectors. We have fun, talking about the old stuff, old comics we find that we've never seen before. That I'm a big fan of the old stuff from the 30s, 40s, and 50s. So finding stuff that you've never seen before that's been out there for 60, 70, 80 years is kind of fun to find.
Yeah. I know you were talking with my husband about Micronauts. Is that right? I don't know if
Yeah,
that's from the 50s. That's
it's
probably more from the
no,
70s or 80s, right?
it is. Yeah, yeah.
Is it?
You're right. It's about
Okay.
70s, 80s. But it's still great series, and I
Yeah.
love that series actually. Some great art in there too. That's the thing too, is the
Well,
art is phenomenal.
the art. Yeah.
Yeah, like a
I
quick
think it's
thing.
so great that go ahead.
Oh,
Mhm.
I was just saying, a quick
Go ahead.
like thing that just came out in the news for comic book art was there's a famous Batman cover of the Joker, and the artist's name is Jock, and he sold the original art sketch recently, or I should say a few years ago, to a fan, and the fan just sold it on auction, and it sold for almost $300,000 just recently. Just to give
Wow.
you an idea, yeah, yeah, it's crazy right now.
There's some big money to be made in yeah, it sounds like there's
Yeah,
some big money to be made in if you know what you're doing.
yep, for
That's
sure.
cool. Well, I think it's so cool that you've turned your hobby and your passion into something that you can actually make money doing. And you can fund your trips to Comic Con and things like that. Like
Yep.
my son and I, we often go to the Emerald City Comic Con, which is here in the Seattle
Oh,
area,
I
and it's
love
so
Emerald
much
City.
fun, but it does get expensive.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I
Have you
haven't
been
been
to
to
the
Emerald
Emerald
City.
City Comic Con?
I have a friend out there that lives out there who he's got, like,
Yeah,
probably 200,000 plus comics. I mean, he used to run a store actually in Seattle, and, he keeps
yeah,
telling me I need to come out there all the time, so I one of
yeah.
these
It's
days, I gotta
super
plan a
fun,
trip. Yep.
definitely, and come and say hi for sure.
Oh, I will.
I am also yeah, I also wanna know, like, I know you have a full-time day job, right?
Yep.
And so you're doing this kind of on the side. I wanna know how you balance all this. I know
Yep.
you have a family, um, but how do you balance all this? It seems like a lot.
It is, so I have to use technology as best I can to kinda balance it, because originally, I started listing all my stuff, and this goes into Treecat too, and other cross listing is like I needed to really find a way. I mean, initially the investment of time was a lot heavier because I had to build my website. I wanted a landing page that the regular public could find, that would also aggregate all my other marketplaces. So my premier marketplace is eBay, where most people go. I mean, I am on other
Mhm.
marketplaces like Mercari and whatnot, but
For eBay.
my eBay store is my primary, because I've actually been selling on eBay since 1999, and uh,
Wow.
I
You
don't
must
know
have
if
been
you
young.
remember. Yeah, I was. Well, I'm 40, but I attended
Oh, you
eBay
are?
University in 2000. I think it was like 2003. So I don't know if you remember those days, but yeah, I was in my teens when I was
I
selling on
do.
eBay, and my parents allowed me to use their
Awesome.
credit card. So, but
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, I started on eBay in 2002, so I do remember those days.
Oh, oh
It was a
yeah.
lot
So you
different.
probably remember eBay University was kind of funny. Yep,
Yeah,
yep. So,
yeah.
but
Cool. Well, I'm curious to know, like, what some of your small wins that you might have, that you might wanna
oh yeah.
share. Something really fun that has
Um,
happened or interesting that's happened to you as a result of your comic book selling.
Yeah, I got like two quick stories. So one is I met a guy, a pen pal from through the community. Just he was on eBay selling, and I bought a bunch of stuff from him. And the stuff he had was just absolutely top shelf amazing. It was stuff from the 40s and 50s and 60s that were like untouched. It looked like no one had read it ever. Sharp corners, beautiful gloss on the cover of these comics. And I messaged him, I said, "It looks like you're unloading everything. Would you be willing to sell the rest of the stuff you have?" And he told me, he's like, the reason I'm selling it so cheap and the reason I'm getting rid of everything is he was actually going blind, and he wanted to sell it to people who were passionate about comic books and would enjoy the art and all that. And he told me, he's like, yeah, I will sell it to, he was very wealthy. He didn't care about the amount of money. So he sold me the rest of his collection for peanuts. And but
Wow.
I always kept in contact with him and told him and sent him like images of how, because he knew I was grading and professionally clean, grading stuff. And I sent him images of sales and things, and messages from people who were excited to get the stuff that he had. And his wife also, as he got older, this is probably over the course of from 2014 to today. So it's been like 10 years. I've emailed him back and forth. And so I've always kept in contact with him and thanked him for the deal he gave me, because it's made me obviously a lot of money too, but also made him happy that I was able to get it to people who were looking for him. And I would say, leading into my
That's
other
so cool.
stories, that yeah, it's a pretty neat pen pal kind of thing. I'd say my other story would be, uh, I've slowly increased my sales over the years from like $5,000 increments. And I think it was last year I had my largest ever sales year. So that was kind of neat to see that go up and up and up. And part of that was due to, I think, my consistency in quality of packaging, shipping, communication with customers. I mean, if you look at my feedback on eBay, you'll see I have like probably some of the best feedback you'll see
Yeah.
out there. And
Yeah.
and
100%.
people will call me out in the feedback and talk about how my packaging was next level good and all these things.
Yeah.
So it helps. It really does. You got to build relationships with people and your customers. So,
Yeah. And it sounds like you've made friendships and lifelong friendships with people
oh yeah,
doing this type of work. That's
absolutely.
interesting.
Yeah, that I feel
Yeah.
like
It
that
does make
drives
me
it better. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it motivates you for sure. I also have 100% feedback right now. And it always amazes me that people give me such awesome feedback, because I feel like I'm not going really above and beyond, but I do like to package things nicely. I do like to make sure that I ship timely. And just it seems like even if you're doing just kind of the minimum, maybe it's not the minimum, maybe it's just above average, you get
Mhm.
you just get amazing feedback. So it makes me
Yeah.
wonder if most of the people out there that are selling on eBay are not doing that good of a job. And that's one way that you can stand out as a seller, is just by really taking
Yeah.
it a little bit higher than average.
I buy on eBay too, and I can tell you, I shake my head 90% of the time looking at what comes to me, and I think about how long it took
Yeah.
me to package and send it out. I mean, I might spend 30 minutes of packaging and driving to the place I drop off, 30 minutes of my time to just make it right. Uh, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and so that gets me to my next question. In terms of tips or tricks, obviously providing that great customer service is important to you. It's important to
Oh,
me.
yeah.
Should be important to all eBay sellers and multi-platform sellers. But
Yep.
what other tips and tricks can you share with my TreeCat audience here?
Um, yeah, I would say use, as best you can, use the free materials that are out there. Like USPS has a lot of good free materials that I use. Obviously, you want to look at you're not misusing federal boxes and things. I've had a lot of people send me
Mm.
media mail when it's not media mail. I've had people send me stuff that was the wrong box for the wrong service. So just do your research. It's not too hard. I mean, even AI these days, you can ask questions to, different like Copilot and things, ask questions, and those
Mhm.
platforms can answer those questions on regulatory or shipping or things like that. But I would say the biggest thing is just use the free materials that are provided these days, and
Mhm.
size up what you're selling. And also too, I've used things that people don't necessarily think about using for packaging, like pool noodles. I've used pool noodles for sending comic books for many
Mhm.
years, and it was a lot cheaper than buying like packing peanuts or paper and stuff, because the pool noodles would fit
Hmm.
around in the boxes and it would protect it much better. And you could buy a pool noodle for a dollar store pool noodle is like $1.
Yeah.
So you save a lot of money there. And so yeah, that's kind of how I've done it. And
Interesting.
yeah, I think that saving on your packaging, saving on your shipping as best you can. Find those shipping services like Pirate Ship is a good one. Places like that. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Cool. And you mentioned that you're big into technology and you've tried out some of these things on Treecat that you have also found very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah, I
liked
was
the fast
fast
match.
match. Yep. Yeah, that worked really good
Yeah.
because
And
I had my eBay inventory and I imported it into Treecat originally, and I actually
mhm,
wanted, because Mercari has been changing a lot of their parameters lately, so I deleted my entire Mercari inventory and then I
mm,
reissued it and fast matched it through Treecat, and it was awesome because took me maybe 30 minutes to an hour to kind of validate things, and that was it. And I was
mhm.
like, wow, this is amazing.
So for those of you in the audience that don't know about Fast Match, it's just a way for people who have already cross-listed things to import it into Treecat, and it will match those together. And so that you don't have to start cross-listing all over again when you start using Treecat. Then it will give you a confidence level of whether or not it thinks the two items here should go together. And um, and we now have the ability to do it in batches, so you can go and accept all recommended matches with like a 99% or greater accuracy. So if you were to do it today, Justin, it would have even been easier for you because we have this new
Yeah, I
feature.
saw that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can actually recommend, instead of doing 99%, you could actually specify a different confidence level. Like, say you were pretty confident that anything over 93% you were confident that it was the correct match. You could select 93%. So you could change the percent of accuracy as well. So which is kind of cool.
One thing I did that helped
Sure.
with that was I kept my
Yep.
titles consistent between marketplaces, so that really
Yeah.
seemed to help for Mercari and then
Yeah.
eBay. So they matched up pretty quick. So
Yeah. Yeah. And so you only have about 130 listings. Is that right? Wait.
135. I've gotten up to 250. I've sold a lot. Sometimes I send stuff off to auction just to get some quick revenue turnaround, and
Yeah.
then because I like to go to garage sales and stuff. Sometimes I need $500 in my wallet to go buy a bunch of stuff,
Yeah.
and so I'll sometimes send off to auctions. But
Yeah. So it probably didn't take that long when you did the calculate, because when you do fast match, you need to press the calculate button so
no.
that it will calculate all those matches and it uses AI to try to determine what matches go together. So it probably was pretty quick, right? When you did it for 130 items, I would
Yeah,
assume it was
yeah,
really quick.
yeah.
I had
It was quick.
many more items, thousands. It would
Yeah,
take a little bit
it was
longer.
quick, and it was quick
Yeah.
enough. I mean, like I said, I'm very picky about my listings, so I want to make sure that
And
they're
you're
uniform
consistent.
across the board. Yep.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sure that
but
helps. So,
mhm.
I noticed that you're on Mercari, you're on this one, that must be one that's specific to,
It is,
comic books,
yeah,
and you're on
yeah.
Whatnot.
It's a new platform that's pretty. And I actually just got accepted as a seller to a new today, as of today, to a new
Nice.
platform called Palm Street. I've never heard of Palm
Nice.
Street before.
I
Um,
have
they
not.
they they actually focus more on crafts and arts, but they're starting to get out into the collectibles market. So
Nice.
not
I'll have to
not
check
a
that
cross
out.
yeah, check it out. Not a cross listing thing yet, so I don't know
Yeah.
how long that's gonna take to get, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So let me ask you about Whatnot. You're also on Whatnot. You know that we are actively adding Whatnot as our next marketplace. And if you have any tips or tricks for Treecat users in regards to using Whatnot, I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, Whatnot is interesting. It's a hard community to crack into. I'll be honest. There's a lot of very, very tight communities, and if you're a new seller, it's really hard to break through that. I
Hmm.
started on Whatnot pretty early on, so I did get into some groups that are a little more well known in the comic book Whatnot community.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's really hard to compete with people on the live stream side of it. I've done
Okay.
okay on the live streams. I do better on, I think, the marketplace, like selling. I've created some
Okay.
relationships and selling the one-offs here and there. So
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So you still think it's worth trying today
it
to get
is.
into, especially with the marketplace that they have.
Yeah, I feel like that they're. Yeah, I would say, I I think that their marketplace that you can list stuff for buy it now is pretty good.
Hmm.
I feel
Yeah.
like their fees are fair. The live stream, you really have to um, get out there and put yourself out there for live stream, and you also got to be very unique to get viewers on live stream. And my technology is pretty good when I do live streams, but um, I it's hard. It's very difficult. Live streaming is
Hmm.
very, very difficult. So
Yeah. I noticed that eBay has started now incorporating live streaming, and
yeah, I
that's
talked to eBay
interesting.
about that. It's tough to get into that. You have to have a really, really high value platform of users. So I think you got to do like probably $50,000 in sales or more. You basically have to be a full fledged shop operation that
Yeah.
to get accepted on eBay Live. And I've bought some
Yeah.
stuff on eBay Live. But
Yeah. So, as sort of a small, a side hustler, what is it? Is there still a possibility for small sellers like you and I to have success in 2025?
oh yeah, absolutely. I would say the best thing is to start small and take off small bites and you have to budget. That's the biggest thing is you have to set yourself on how much you are able to spend and how much you're able to reinvest
Hmm.
into your business. I I honestly just I try to do like 50% of my sales back into my buying and keep it going. And I usually my inventory sits at about 5,000 total. So I kind of keep around the 5,000 mark. Over 5,000, it's harder to manage with comic
Hmm.
books. It's a lot of
Yeah.
time to organize stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So it sounds like you're overall pretty bullish about your side hustle and what's in the future and what's. I mean, do you have what's in your crystal ball? What do you foresee? Do you see expanding in the future? What's next for Justin and for
Oh,
investment
yeah.
comic books?
I'd like to I actually would like to do more like videos and stuff on YouTube and other places just talking about like what just what I've seen is successful. And I'd also like to document some of my like hunting where I'm hunting for stuff in the wild, looking for books and kind of almost I've always liked the show American Pickers. So I've
Hmm.
always kind of wanted to do like a comic book specific picking type of you know, vlog or whatever.
Cool.
So I always thought
So
that would be kind of fun. But
yeah, so maybe a little bit of social media in your future. It sounds like.
yeah, I'm trying to push the social media stuff more and more. Right now, I like to list on my social media, I like to showcase all the books that I found, sold, I either own right now for sales, um, and just kind of get people out there knowing like what I have and have had. So if they see a book that I had sold in the past, they might be like, oh, maybe he can find that for me in the future, kind of thing. So
Hmm. Yeah. All right. Last question for you. And this is just sort of like a question to answer regarding our watchers here that maybe are just getting started with their passion project. But if there's anything that you could change, go back in the past and change about your comic book business, would there be anything that you would change, or how would you do things differently today?
yeah, I would. I've changed my name like 3 times, so I really wish I would have found this name and domain and all the branding and all the logo and all that stuff I came up with. I wish I would have thought of that back in 2013 instead of it took me till I think it was about 2018 to come up with something I really liked. So, I think I may have stagnated my growth a little bit with that having name changes a few times. people didn't know my name and
Okay, so
identify
branding.
with who I was.
Branding.
Branding would be
Yeah.
the biggest. Um
Branding is so important.
yeah.
People overlook that, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, colors and
Interesting.
consistency, branding, all that stuff is very if you can have an identity for your branding and can be recognized. Like in Whatnot, if I jump in a show, I have my logo that I created, people
Mhm.
instantly know who I am. So like they'll see me out of 100 chats, they'll be like, "Oh, Investment Comic Books is in here. Say hi, follow him." They'll see it because they recognize my
Yeah.
logo, like almost like I always wanted a Nike swoosh basically. So my logo is pretty definitive, and so people now recognize that. So
So that's your visual brand as well is what you're saying is get your brand name set and get
yep,
your visual branding on point is kind of what I'm hearing. That's
100%.
good
Yeah,
advice.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, anything else you want to promote? We've got investmentcomicbooks.com and investment comic books on eBay. Anything else we want to promote, Justin?
Yeah. I mean, I'm on Instagram. I'm on X, Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I have business pages for all those, and you'll see the same
Awesome.
I mean, it depends on where you're at, but you'll see the same kind of posts. And I'd like to start engaging more on there, and um, yeah, so find me there too.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much for chatting with me today. And we look forward to speaking with you in the future. And have a
Okay.
great weekend. Mahalo.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye bye.